Welcome to Community Talk, a public affairs presentation of the MSA United Way and Super Talk 1270. Now your host, Jenna Gullo.
Good morning, Bismarck, Mandan, and all of our listeners from around the world, especially my mother and father in Western New York. Thanks for tuning in. And possibly my niece Sophia in Fredonia. We may have a new listener on board. We're trying to recruit you. You tune us in every other Tuesday. We can be found here on Super Talk 1270. I'm Jenna Gullo. I'm the executive director of the Missouri Slope Area-wide United Way, and co-hosting with me today and always is Ms. Amber Jensen, the operations and marketing manager.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Gullo family.
I told my parents they need to come back up here to North Dakota. They love it up here, and why wouldn't they? I'm here.
Summer is beautiful here. They get to see you, relax.
They get to volunteer for our Day of Caring. We always put them to work.
They're probably like, Wednesday of Caring will come the week after.
Yeah, they actually are thinking about that. Because it's a great day. So everyone needs to reserve August 10th this year. We have our Day of Caring, and we are going to be hitting the 1,000 volunteer mark.
Yeah, I was just visiting with Molly Harrington and Amy Hullett. They're our co-chairs for this year's Day of Caring, and they already sent me an email. We need who volunteered, who are your team captains. We're going to hit this mark, and so they're geared up, ready to go to kick this off, and hopefully we'll have another successful year.
Well, it's just amazing because Amy Hullett and Molly Harrington are just two movers and shakers in the community. So I'm sure everyone out there knows them. If you don't, please do get to know them. They recruited, along with Ms. Amber Jensen and all of our team captains, 975 volunteers last year, which is nearly twice as many as 2 years before.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible the impact that one day of Caring can really make in the community. Last year, we saved the community about $270,000 in this one day, and that's because we get trained volunteers that get to go to certain projects. We get donated materials. I mean, you name it. It's a big success that day.
Well, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit coming up. We have Nicole Peski with the ARC, and even though she's not a United Way funded partner, we still sent a crew of volunteers over there, and they did some massive renovations.
Yeah, and if you're a nonprofit in the Bismarck-Mandan area or even in our 10-county region, we've done projects up in Beulah, so we can try to make it work and find those volunteers. But if you're a nonprofit, a church, a school, just needing some help getting you started for the school year in August, give us a call or go on our website, msaunitedway.org. We're currently accepting your applications for Day of Caring, and so if you're looking around your office saying, I could use some paint, or we'd like these trees cut back a little bit, and you have that wish list of things you've been wanting to get done all year, please consider submitting that application. The applications are due April 29th, and you can do it directly on our website. Again, that's msaunitedway.org.
You know, or if you're just a community member and you're seeing a need, maybe there's a park that we need to clean up or a playground that we need to install. We can find those United Way volunteers and donors to make that happen. Our community is extremely generous. And so what we do is we secure over 50 different projects in the community. They're usually projects that are offered up by nonprofits, but we've also helped the city with highway cleanup. We've done Mandan, the big Mandan sign on Crying Hill. We've done garden boxes, which I thought that was a really neat project. So we had volunteers from NDSU Extension Services help us and our volunteers to build garden boxes for low-income neighborhoods and mobile home parks.
Yeah, and then they were able to, I can't remember how many they made because that started 2 years ago. I want to say around 200 garden boxes. And now those families are able to put them in their trailer parks, or maybe you live in an apartment and you just don't have access to those grounds. And now they're growing their own vegetables and being able to have that fresh fruit available to them. So it doesn't have to be in your office or around your property. It can definitely even be a community service project that you've been wanting to give back to the community. We've done the United Way Backpack program on Day of Caring, where we've had the First Lady was there 2 years ago for Day of Caring and helped us pack backpacks for the summer months to make sure that those kids are still getting those meals.
Absolutely. So if you have an idea out there, or if you're a nonprofit or an individual in need, call our United Way office. Figure out what that project might look like, and we can help you put it together and possibly find the resources. It's all about the community coming together. So we recruit the volunteers. We then have the volunteers solicit donations from local businesses and church groups so that we're able to get all the materials and supplies donated, plus lunch for the volunteers. We kick this all off with our campaign kickoff that morning. It's going to be at 7:30 at Century High School on August 10th. So if you're a business owner out there, you really need to have a team. It is so much fun, and it's great for morale.
Yeah, you see a lot of people that make comments, when you're working as a team from your office, you might not ever work with the people in IT or sales. You might just be confined to your marketing department. And so it's a great way to even get to know people if you're from a really large company as well. And then if you want it to just be your small core group of friends, we had the Stilettos there last year. So even if you're not part of a company, you're just an individual, we really have projects for grandparents, for kids, skilled, the not skilled, you name it, there's a project for everybody.
I remember there were some women from the Bismarck Stilettos group that had no idea that some of our agencies even existed. They went down to Manchester House one year and they said, oh my God, we want to do more. We didn't know this home was here for these kids that are really needing more support and more structure and just that one-on-one intensive service to help them to be successful. They had no idea that that service even was provided in our community. So it's a great way to come face to face with a lot of the needs. You might not know where our domestic violence shelter is or our homeless shelter in Mandan for Welcome House. And it's a time for you to really get a firsthand look at what the services are and then also continue those relationships in the future. So go online. Where can they get the project application, Amber?
If you go to msaunitedway.org/DOC, and that's for Day of Caring, and that will take you directly to the project application site.
As soon as we have all those projects recruited, we're going to post them online, and then people can go online to volunteerbizman.com. We'll be posting over 50 different projects, but now it's project time. So get those projects in, start recruiting your teams, and if you want to be a team captain, we need you. So help us to coordinate this incredible Day of Caring. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We'll be speaking with Nicole Peski from the ARC.
Right now, 32.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back. You are listening to United Way's Community Talk. I am Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. And with me in studio today, co-hosting today and always, Ms. Amber Jensen, the Operations and Marketing Manager of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way.
Good morning, everyone.
So, Amber, you're looking for some online auctions.
Yeah, our online auction is April 18th through the 29th. And so if you're a business out there, you're listening, or an individual out there, and you have an item, we try to get them over $50, and you're willing to donate them to our online auction. It goes to a great cause. All of those will go to our 32 member agencies that really are focusing on education and making sure that our kids are all successful as the others. And so if you have an item out there, or you have a timeshare, or you have frequent flyer miles that you'd like to donate that you maybe won't be using this coming year, give our office a call, 255-3601, and we'll be happy to put those on our site. The link to the site is msaunitedway.org.
It is a lot of fun to join in and bid, and then you get a notification every time you're outbid. And so your employer might not appreciate you playing on the computer all day, but it's for a good cause. So tell them why your time is worthy in being a part of the online auction. The nice thing too for businesses and individuals who donate is that you get that free publicity, because we have how many people that usually log on every year?
Last year I think there was about 25,000 views to the site, and so that could be
unbelievable.
Multiple people, but it really gets the good traction. And if you donate your business, so say United Way donates a business, we can link it so it goes directly to your site. We either put a picture of the item, your logo, what have you, that you provide. Yeah, so you get that free publicity that goes out to thousands of people in the community.
Last year, I won, even though I paid for it, but I won a set of golf clubs.
Yeah, and we had to increase. So now on the 29th of April, we now close at 8 p.m. because Jenna tried to get the golf clubs 2 years ago at 4 o'clock when we closed and missed it because of a meeting. And so you do have till Friday.
At United Way.
Yeah.
I don't know what everyone else in this community does, but we actually have an agenda. We get things done.
So you have till 8 p.m. on the 29th to make sure you get those items you're looking for.
Oh, we should have an online auction party. And just everyone have their laptops.
Bid for everyone. Oh, I got outbid again.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Hey, it might encourage more bids.
It might.
You never know. And you can always overbid because guess what? The money goes to United Way, which helps out your community. And just in case people are wondering, if you're just tuning in, why United Way? We are solving problems. We are focused on data and real solutions, not just putting a Band-Aid over issues. So, for example, right now, we're working with our partner agencies and business leaders to try to solve hunger in Bismarck and Mandan. There is absolutely no reason that 1 in 5 kids in our community are dealing with hunger issues. We're doing the United Way backpack program because we saw a gap and we're filling it. So we fill, today we have 48 students who are from the Adventist Church packing 782 backpacks for Bismarck and Mandan area alone. So if you are out there in a rural community, we'll bring these programs to you. We just need the funding. It's only $5 per United Way backpack. So that's what United Way is all about. If you want to get involved, you can be a part of making those decisions. You can be a part of our Women's Leadership Circle. In fact, we have a social coming up. When is that, Amber?
It will be May 5th, 4:30 to 6, and we'll be at the Courtyard by Marriott. And so if you have always heard us talk about the Women's Leadership Circle or the WLC and wondered, what does it take to be involved? What does it take to be at that level? Come join us at that social. You don't have to be a WLC member to come, but hopefully once you leave there, you'll want to join and get involved.
So at United Way, it's really not just about raising money and giving it out. We help the community in so many other ways. And just one very small example is through our Day of Caring. You do not have to be a funded United Way partner to be a part of that program, but yet we're able to help recruit and link the resources such as volunteers and donated materials to other nonprofits in the community and to the cities of Bismarck and Mandan. So joining us today, we have Nicole Peski. She is the executive director of the ARC, and we had this huge project that you submitted last year, Nicole. Thanks for submitting that. Thanks for being on our show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell me about that project. I wasn't able to stop by for that one.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So, and it kind of came at the 11th hour, too, I think. We were kind of in at the last minute there. But so we had a couple of projects going on. We had a big a wall building project that was done by Paramount Builders. They brought a whole crew of workers over and built us a wall in the middle of our store in one day. And then we had another group of, I think we had 10 or 12 volunteers from a bunch of different organizations in Bismarck that came and did a lot of projects in our thrift store that were things that we'd wanted to do for a really long time, but just didn't ever make or find the time to do. You know, everybody has those projects, right? So
Absolutely.
they moved some of our departments around to make our floor space more efficient. They dusted shelving. We happened to have a designer that was part of our volunteer pool. She came in and designed us these really awesome signs to label our departments just to help us make things a little bit more professional looking. And so, yeah, we are huge fans of the United Way of Day of Caring, that's for sure.
So how hard was it to put together a project?
Oh my goodness. It's more like what were we going to dwindle it down to which one were we going to apply for? Because, we always have projects that we want to get done. So, not at all. It was super easy. Come up with an idea. The application was super simple. And Amber was just super easy to work with. At the end there, she is the best. Yeah, she is the best. So it was really, I can just say too that especially being from a small nonprofit that has a very small staff, it was very nice to not only have the workers come and get that done, but also the work that it took to submit the project, having that not be really high maintenance was very nice for our small office too. So we love it.
Well, and if your list is still continued from last year and what you didn't submit, I encourage you to submit those again. We're trying to get to our 1,000 volunteer mark, and so we need those projects to get there. And so if you have 2 or 3 projects this year, I encourage you to submit them all, because you never know. A lot of our volunteers want to do a variety of things, so it's nice to have a wide range of options for them to pick from.
Yeah, it's just a great day. The energy was so good.
Well, and to have a professional company like Paramount Builders.
I know.
What more could you ask for?
I wanted to hug him, but I thought maybe that'd be weird. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
I'm sure they would have appreciated it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're like, I hope these snacks are, do it justice.
Okay, so Nicole, for our listeners out there, tell us, what is the ARC?
Yeah, so the Arc of Bismarck, so we're a small nonprofit in town, like I mentioned, and we do education, advocacy, and support for people with disabilities and their families in the Bismarck-Mandan area. So what we're finding is a lot of people, when I say I'm with the Arc, they say, oh, the thrift store. A lot of people recognize us by our thrift store on South 12th Street. We have a lot of people that there's a lot of sentimental meaning behind the thrift store for them, because they bought their whole entire college wardrobe there. So we offer a number of programs and services for people with disabilities. So one of our big programs that we do, and we're actually crossing our fingers and on a grant that we applied for to do, our Partners in Policy Making. And so this would be our 25th year doing that in this area. And so what it is it's takes place over the course of 8 months. It's one weekend a month for 8 months, and it's not just open to people in the Bismarck-Mandan area, but to people with disabilities and their families across the state. And so we teach them skills like, for example, we help them identify things that they're really interested in, things that they're interested in, because what we find is that sometimes people with disabilities, for their whole entire lives, they've had people that have been kind of telling them what they should be interested in. And so we really have this exercise we take them through that helps them identify what they love, and maybe how they could even turn that into not only a pastime, but also maybe a career opportunity for them. So then over in some of the other sessions, we talk about how to advocate for themselves.
And so, Nicole, were you a part of this last year? Because you're relatively new.
Right, yeah. So I kind of caught it at the last half of the class.
And what were some of the transformations that you witnessed?
Oh, my goodness. We have just the best success stories that come out of it. And I wish I should have brought some of the quotes with me, but I think one of the most powerful that I heard was actually from a parent who had come with her child. And to be there and to just be participating in this class full of people, and to hear her talk about how through what she had learned in the class, she really realized that she wasn't expecting enough, and that she just at the end of the class wanted so much more for her child. And so we really feel like we give them the tools to be able to go back and to be able to know how to ask for the things that they want, whether it's in employment or education, or among their city officials or their state legislators, and then give them the tools to know how to do that.
Is the program going on right now, or can people still apply for this year?
Right. So we're waiting to find out about our grant. So we're hoping on that. We're going to find out at the end of May, and then the applications would be out this summer, and the class would probably start in August or September.
Great. And this is for families or people?
Yep. People with disabilities.
People with disabilities and the individuals who have the disability themselves.
Right.
And then do they attend the classes together?
Yep, absolutely.
That's fantastic. How can people get a hold of you, Nicole?
Right. So they can call. Our phone number at the ARC is 701-222-1854. And my email address is executive_director.
Ooh.
at thearkofbismarck.org. I always say I inherited it. I did not ask for that. It's the longest email in the history of email.
Okay, exec_director
Yeah.
at thearkofbismarck.org. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to talk more with Nicole from the Ark, and also so she can give all of us some tips as we're donating our household stuff to Nicole and the Ark at the thrift store.
Right now, 32.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. supertalk1270.com.
Welcome back. Hello, hello. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way, asking you to get involved today. You can call our office or go online. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities on volunteerbizman.com. So log in and look at what our agencies are needing. And if you have a need out there, give our office a call. The city actually called us because there was a woman who was receiving a lot of complaints. Her yard was packed full with items. We saw pictures. And if she didn't get it cleaned up, she was going to have to go to court and possibly have to move from her home. And so United Way did step in, and we tried to provide her with the support she needed. And it looks like it's going to be resolved successfully so that she's able to stay there. So if there is a need in the community, or if you're not sure who to call United Way. Our number is 255-3601. Amber Jensen is our operations and marketing manager. She's in studio today, and she is helping to lead the coordination of our annual Day of Caring, which will be August 10th this year.
Yeah, so if you have a project or you've been driving around the community and you see a need or you know of someone that could use a helping hand, submit an application. Go to msaunitedway.org. We'll be accepting applications until April 29th. And again, Day of Caring this year, make sure you mark your calendar for August 10th.
Yeah, and we're really starting right now to get those projects all lined up. So if you have a good idea out there, float it our way. Or like us on Facebook, because we're oftentimes putting needs directly on Facebook, and people are raising their hand. It's just fantastic. Immediately, they're letting us know that they're able to help us out. In fact, I was just talking with Guardian and Protective Services yesterday, delivering a hero plaque to their finance coordinator, and they were telling me about an individual that they help, and they're looking for someone to be a companion, take an older woman to church, help get her out and socialize a little bit. And so if you're a volunteer that's looking for a direct way to make an impact, please call our United Way office or go online to volunteerbizman.com. Joining us in studio is Nicole Peski. Nicole is the executive director of the Ark. She is also just a fantastic person. So if you don't know Nicole, or you want to learn more about what the Ark is doing, or have a new good friend, you gotta call Nicole over at the Ark.
But don't email me because it's too long.
Yeah, exactly. Her email address. Forget about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even write it all down. My hand started to hurt. But no, Nicole, okay, tell our listeners, what is the Ark and why should they get involved?
Oh, so the Ark. So we're a nonprofit that helps people with disabilities and their families.
We were talking on break. When you say disabilities, what's that? What's your client look like? I mean,
Right.
What types of disabilities do you serve?
Yeah, so we're a really small nonprofit, but our reach is so great. When we say disability, what we're talking about is we're talking about a physical disability or an intellectual disability, developmental disabilities. And what we were talking about here during the break is about how a disability, a lot of times when we think about it, we think about somebody who's born with a disability. But what it can also mean is somebody who acquires a disability because they're in a car accident, for example. But that's not typical. A lot of people don't think of that.
And so what services do you provide for those individuals, or what type of asks are you getting when you receive those phone calls?
Right, yeah. So we are, like I mentioned, we do our partners program, which takes up quite a bit of time and is so near and dear to our heart because we love teaching people how to advocate for themselves. Another thing that we do is we do offer information and referral services for people that call. We like to be an information bank.
What are some of the types of calls that you get?
Yeah, so we get, a lot of times we get questions from people who they're frustrated with a situation that they're in, and they just don't know who to call to go to for help. And so what we can do is we work so far and wide with all kinds of disability organizations and state agencies in the state that we can refer them to the proper person that could help them solve their issues. So we're seeing things like parents needing help with working with a school system on an IEP.
And for our listeners out there, explain what
right,
an IEP is.
An IEP, sorry. Oh my, I started this job like less than a year ago, and I started keeping track of the letters because, and now look at me, I'm using them. So
You're one of those.
I'm like the person I didn't want to be, right? IEP, so individualized education plan. So what it is it's just a plan that you set up with the school. They have a bunch of people that are involved that help actually write down and facilitate how to get your child the education that they should have. So, but it's a very complex process.
It is.
About, and speaking, as a parent who is very new to the IEP process myself, it's a complex process. So.
It is, and it's important to have that input from the parents, because I've been at a lot of those meetings being a foster parent.
Right.
And I mean, really, it's a whole new world. If you don't have someone holding your hand and guiding you through the process, you're really not going to know what your rights are. Mm-hmm. And do you find that with individuals who have a disability that oftentimes they're not sure, what they're able to ask for or what should be expected?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. People with disabilities, and also I think for parents it's hard too, because if we have so many great educators out there, oh my goodness, they just will bend over backwards for the students that they serve. But you do when you're in an IEP meeting and you don't really know exactly what you can ask for. You kind of are at the whim of the person who's writing the IEP that they're going to do what's best for your child. And sometimes for children, it's not like fitting, like around, screw into a round peg. It's like, it's not every situation that's out there there's a perfect fit for in an IEP. So you really have to know what your rights are as a parent so that you can advocate for your child.
What about if you're wanting to get into the workforce? What kind of rights do you have? Or say you're having an issue with your landlord.
Right. Yeah. So we do refer people to different groups. Vocational rehabilitation, the state agency is one. They work a lot with employment issues, and the ARC has a long history of fighting for inclusion, and so we really believe that people with disabilities, that they should be in work environments with people, just like I have, am good at certain things, and, Amber's good at certain things, that we really feel like there should be a diverse group of people in a work environment. And so, yeah, it's just getting them to understand what kind of, a lot of times simple accommodations can be made in an office environment to make it work. Mm-hmm.
So no, a lot of people don't realize, because we get a lot of phone calls and people say, gosh, I don't want to donate, I'm doing spring cleaning. I don't want to donate my, furniture to a thrift store because then they'll be sold. I want to give it to someone in need. Or I have clothing. Do you know a person who's a size, 8 and is going back into the workforce? And so we get these calls all of the time. And what our first response is, if we don't know a specific family, is, gosh, it is so important to support our local thrift stores.
Yes. Oh, I love hearing that. Yeah. I hear that a lot too, just, out and about and on Facebook. And there are a few reasons why it's really great to support thrift stores. And this is besides the fact that it's less expensive, which is always a good thing. And it's recycling, which is a good thing. But also with thrift stores, you're really supporting the mission that's behind the thrift store. And I'm not talking about just the ARC here. I'm talking about, I'll go ahead on a limb and speak for thrift stores in Bismarck and say that, when you're shopping at that thrift store, you're providing funds for those organizations to serve the people they serve. So Seeds of Hope supports the Abused Adult Resource Center. Pause for Cause, they support the Humane Society. And so it's just a really great thing to support those nonprofits.
What's the percentage of your revenue that comes from your thrift store?
Oh my goodness, it's a lot. I mean, a lot, probably 50%.
Yeah, and it helps you then be able to support people with disabilities. So what are the things you're looking for? And if you're out there and doing some spring cleaning, Nicole has some tips for you.
Think about us when you're thinking about your spring cleaning. It's getting to be that time of the year. And we really take any sort of household or clothing goods. The important thing to remember is that, you would not want to donate anything that you would not want to buy yourself. And so nothing that has holes or stains in it. Everything should be in working order and clean. And you donate those things. And then if people are really conscious about the things that the types of things that they donate, and then, if it's broken, then unfortunately we have to pay to dispose of it. So then it gets to be expensive. And you're kind of doing the opposite of what you intend to do.
Yeah, so take care of your junk yourself. Don't hand it off to Nicole out there, because it's going to cost you money to get rid of those things.
Yeah, so come visit us.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's a great place.
Go through your closets, identify all of your nice things that you want to give someone in need, and give it to the ARC. Where are you located?
Our store is at South 12th Street. It's just 2 blocks south of Jack's Steakhouse in Bismarck.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes to learn more about MSA United Way.
Right now it's 34.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Hello, Bismarck Mandan. I'm Jenna Gullo. I'm the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. Thanking you for listening in, and thanks for all of your help. We just reached our goal of over $2.6 million. Woo! The crowd is going wild in the studio. But it's really because of our generous community, and it's just awesome. We have a fantastic board of directors, high-powered, high-level people in the community. Mr. Ted Cash is our past president from Basin Electric. I love when he gets passionate about a topic.
It's probably pretty crazy, huh?
It's just crazy. It's pandemonium. Our incoming president for 2016 is Leslie Oliver from Vogel Law Firm. And she's so impressive when I listen to her at our board meetings. I mean, she's so personable and everyone loves her. But my goodness, does she know how to run a professional meeting? I got to keep my jokes to a minimum during that 45 minutes. But we just have an awesome team as well. In studio with me is Amber Jensen. Amber is the Operations and Marketing Manager at United Way.
Good morning, everyone.
So what we're doing here at United Way is we try to make it as convenient as possible for people to give back and have the most impact with their donor dollars. And in our radio show, if there's a community need or you're putting on a fundraiser or you need some help promoting, just let us know. We're here to really empower people and our agencies and to solve problems. And we can really do that in the most efficient way by people connecting and coming together. So in studio with us, not wearing her ARC hat, is Nicole Peski. She happens to be the executive director for the ARC, but no, she's wearing her director's hat. You're on a board that has a really exciting conference coming up, Nicole.
Right, yeah. So One More, One Less Orphan Ministry is the name of the group.
And I'm sorry, but how and where did that start?
Where did One More, One Less start?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. You got to love when people see a need and then they just fill it, right?
That is.
I love that. I love
that.
Those stories never get old. So we had a group at our church who they were going through the adoption process, and they didn't really have anybody. They didn't know a lot of other adoptive families, and there certainly was no support for any organized support for people, for adoptive families. And so they gathered together a bunch of people, and we formed this One More, One Less orphan ministry. So what we do is we provide education and support for adoptive and foster families. So the main component of what we do is we give $3,000 grants to families who are adopting from North Dakota. So their address is North Dakota address. They can be either domestic or foreign or international adoptions. So, and the application process is super simple. There's not a financial requirement. And so if you go to onemoreonelessministry.com, the application is on there if you know of somebody that's adopting.
Well, guess what? We actually do. It's not Amber or I.
Somebody in your office?
Sorry, Mom. No, we got a call today from one of our largest donors in the community, and they have an employee who is adopting, and it was somewhat unexpected is what we read. They do have a GoFundMe page. They're trying to raise $19,000 to take care of this little baby boy, and they wondered what organizations in town would be able to provide assistance.
See, oh my
happened
goodness!
This morning, I kid you not.
Oh my goodness!
Happened this morning.
You just have to love how that always, works out like that.
No kidding.
It is so expensive to adopt, and that financial reasons is the number one reason why people feel a call to adopt and say no. Financial, because it can cost $35,000.
Unbelievable.
You can pay more to go through the adoption process than to buy a new pilot. I mean, the fact that there's something wrong with that is sort of a side point. You kind of have to deal with the situation at hand, but...
Well, and the beautiful thing about their story, too, is that they're helping out a mother who could not provide for their child.
Oh, yep.
And it was one of those situations where they just felt that God was calling them to raise their hand, and they were able to meet the mother, the birth mother, she really wanted to provide a better life for her son. Unbelievable. Okay, so ministry.com.
Yep.
Okay, we will pass along that information, but you have a conference coming up.
Yes, so the other part of what we do is education, and so we're hosting this Empowered to Connect simulcast, and it's going to be at Charity Lutheran Church on April 8th and 9th from 9 to 5 p.m. So if you're involved especially in the adoption world, the person who coordinates this event is Dr. Karen Purvis, and that name will be no stranger to you because she is sort of the go-to expert in attachment. And so she's the one that puts together the simulcast and does a lot of the speaking. And so the conference is going to be just the simulcast, like I said, and it's geared towards adoptive parents, foster families, but also what I love about it is it's really geared towards any sort of professional who works with children who come from hard places. So it's all about children who have traumatic pasts. And so we're talking about social workers, counselors, educators, ministry leaders, anybody who works with those children.
And, if you're a foster parent out there, you can receive credits. I mean, we're required to do a certain number of hours for training every single year in order to renew our license and to keep it active. So this qualifies for Burleigh County Social Services and I presume PATH.
Right. Yep.
Foster
exactly.
care.
Yeah. And it's 2 days. It's 9 to 5 both days, which is a big time commitment. But if you can only come to one day, just come to one day. I mean, it's nice because the sessions are kind of independent of each other. They don't really build off of one another. So you can come and catch whatever you can. And
so what type of topics will you be discussing?
So the topics are going to be, they're really, really diverse. It's going to be talking about attachment. Well, what I love about this is our second year hosting. We did it last year. They talk about the actual chemistry of the brain of what happens when there's trauma in a child's life. So they go through all of that, just that aspect of what the child's brain looks like and what happens. And then they talk about the kind of behaviors that are very typical with children and how to handle those behaviors, and really talking about how children who come from traumatic pasts, you can't parent them like you can a typical child. We have oh, she's going to be 4 next week, daughter that we adopted from Bulgaria a year and a half ago. And we don't parent her the same way because, there's a certain way that you treat children that come from traumatic pasts. So they really offer some very good, simple, they break it down ways that you can, tough things like disciplining your child.
And so what is the cost if you are interested in attending this conference?
So the cost is free. It's just a free will offering. We're just going to have a bucket out. We're not doing it to make a lot of money. So we're just going to try to cover our costs and offer it up to anybody in the community that wants to come.
Who are you hoping will attend?
We're hoping that we're going to get adoptive and foster families, and then above that, I know there's a social work conference going on that weekend in Fargo, but we would love to see some teachers there. Last year we didn't have very many, and we really feel like, teachers are so, they have such diverse classrooms these days, and we think really that some of the strategies that Dr. Purvis is teaching in the simulcast that they may be able to use in their classrooms as well.
Thank you, Nicole. So if you are listening out there and you know a family who is in need of financial assistance, they might be able to apply for a grant. Go over to onemoreonelessministry.com. onemoreonelessministry.com. So Amber Jensen, we have some United Way things going on before we wrap up.
Yeah, so if you have an item, if you're a business or an individual and you'd like to donate to our online auction, we'll be accepting those donations. The actual event is April 18th through the 29th, so mark your calendars if you've been involved in that in the past and like to outbid. Probably Jenna and I. Make sure you mark those on your calendar. We'll also be accepting the donations about a week up, or if you get them that week, we'll take them as well.
It's really fun. We have a lot of golf passes, golf clubs, spa packages. We had Jan Tillo donate a beautiful Marc Jacobs purse.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Marc Jacobs? I don't know.
Michael Kors,
or
maybe?
Michael Kors. I don't know who either of them are.
We have our eye on it, so don't think about bidding on it.
Yeah, maybe Marc Jacobs. Is that like J-Lo's ex-husband or something? Who is that? I don't know. Kind of out of the loop because we're always at the United Way office, but we have our Day of Caring that we will be hosting on August 10th. So if you know of a community project that you'd like us to coordinate and recruit volunteers and work with us on, get those projects submitted. You can go online to volunteerbisman.com or look for project application information on msaunitedway.org.
Yeah, we were hoping to have about 50 projects this year for our Day of Caring. And so if you have some ideas and you want to run them past us, call our office, 255-3601. Another event that we have coming up, our Women's Leadership Circle. If you've heard us talk about that, wanted to get involved, May 5th, we'll be at the Courtyard by Marriott here in Bismarck from 4:30 to 6. Come have a social, enjoy Cinco de Mayo with us, and just have a fun night.
Thanks to everyone out there listening and tuning in. We are here every other Tuesday from 11 to noon on Super Talk 1270. A special thank you to Town Square Media and, of course, to my wonderful parents back in Western New York. I almost said North Dakota. For tuning in. I love you. I miss you. So we'll be back in just 2 weeks. We will see everyone then.